my own security team was about to throw me out of my company's grand opening. The irony was so thick I could taste it, like expensive champagne turning to vinegar in my mouth. The chill of the Italian marble floor seeped through my leather soles as I faced my smirking cousin, Liam. His arm formed a physical barrier across the gleaming brass-framed entrance to the Orion Towers penthouse suite, a crown jewel in my real estate empire that had taken me 8 grueling years to build from nothing. "A little out of your league, isn't it, Alex?" he said, his voice slick with mock concern that didn't quite hide the gleam of satisfaction in his eyes. "The catering staff entrance is around back, near the dumpsters. I'm sure one of the waiters could point you in the right direction." If only he knew I'd personally selected the vintage Dom Perignon he was holding so carelessly that I could recite the exact vineyard and year from memory. My name is Alexandra Vance, and for 39 years, I'd lived in the shadow of my family's limited expectations. This is the story of the night I finally stepped into the light, proclaiming my name at an extravagant party being held in my own skyscraper, surrounded by people who thought they knew me but had never truly seen me at all. "Private event, Alexandra," my Aunt Clara stated coldly, appearing beside Liam like a well-dressed specter of disapproval. Her critical eyes scanned my deliberately understated but exquisitely tailored dress, missing its significance entirely. "The guest list is exclusive. We didn't think you'd be able to contribute to the cover charge. Charles was quite specific about keeping this gathering to accomplished individuals only." I felt the familiar weight of the titanium keycard in my silk clutch, the master key that accessed every floor, every secure room in this 60-story monument to everything they said I couldn't achieve. "I brought a gift for Uncle Charles," I said calmly, though my pulse hammered in my throat. "Something I thought he might appreciate." Liam snorted, the sound ugly and out of place in the elegant hallway. "Let me guess. A gift basket from that mid-tier hotel you manage. Some cheap wine and overpriced chocolates." He had no idea that mid-tier hotel was the first of 23 luxury properties I owned across 3 continents, that the Vance Properties portfolio was valued at approximately $4.7 billion. 10 years ago, when I made the decision to leave the family's stagnant retail business to pursue my vision in property development, he'd collectively written me off. My uncle's condescending words from that day remained a constant echo in my memory. "Chasing pipe dreams, Alex. You'll come crawling back when you fail, just like your father did." So I'd let them believe their carefully constructed narrative. Let them think I was a struggling hotel manager barely making ends meet. Meanwhile, working 18-hour days and sacrificing everything, I was quietly building Vance Properties into a global force that now rivaled developments they could only read about in business magazines. The dreamer they dismissed now controlled a portfolio could buy and sell their entire legacy 10 times over. "Your dress," Liam sneered, breaking my reverie. He gestured with his champagne flute, nearly spilling the precious liquid. "Couldn't you have at least rented something suitable for Father's 70th? This isn't some backyard barbecue." I smoothed the elegant, deceptively simple fabric of my dress, a one-of-a-kind piece created specifically for me by a legendary Tokyo artisan who exclusively dressed royalty and a select few CEOs. "It's what I had," I replied, keeping my voice even. The irony of the moment sat like a physical pressure in my chest, a coiled spring of truth waiting to be released. "This is a gathering for genuine successes," Aunt Clara added, her pearls clutched tightly in her manicured fingers. "The Hendersons are here from that prestigious investment firm. The Van Horns, true old money from Boston. People of actual consequence, not those pretending at achievement." I nodded slowly, names registering immediately in my mental files. The Hendersons were currently desperate to refinance a substantial loan with my commercial banking division, their application sitting in my pending folder. The Van Horns had been formally declined for a membership at my members-only Alpine Club in Aspen just last month after their references failed to check out. "People of consequence," I repeated, the words tasting like ash. "I see." "Precisely," Liam said, puffing his chest out in his overly tailored tuxedo. "So you understand why your presence here would be problematic. It would be awkward for everyone, especially Father. We have appearances to maintain." What would happen, I wondered, when the most important person in the room was finally revealed? and the power dynamic they took for granted shattered into a million unrecognizable pieces. Just then, the penthouse elevator chimed its distinctive melody, the one I'd personally selected for its perfect pitch. The brushed steel doors slid open to reveal my head of operations, Ben Carter, who had been with me since my first daring acquisition of a bankrupt motel in Arizona. His sharp eyes found mine immediately across the crowded hallway. "Miss Vance," he said, his crisp voice cutting cleanly through their condescension. "My apologies for the interruption. The International Board is waiting for your final approval on the Singapore acquisition. The video conference is live. Also, the deed for the Monaco estate has been couriered over and is awaiting your signature on the desk in your private office upstairs." The silence that descended was absolute, so profound I could hear the ice melting in Liam's forgotten glass. His face went slack with incomprehension. Aunt Clara's hand flew to her pearls as if they might provide some anchor in this suddenly shifting reality. "Miss Vance," Liam finally choked out, the title sounding foreign and wrong on his lips. Ben looked at him, genuinely perplexed by the question in his tone. "Yes, Alexandra Vance, founder and CEO of Vance Properties. She owns this building and the land it stands on." I watched, mesmerized, as the truth began to dismantle their carefully constructed reality, piece by fragile piece, like a stone hitting a glass house. I turned to my speechless family, their confidence now visibly crumbling. "Shall we?" I asked gently. "I believe you've reserved my penthouse for the evening's festivities. We shouldn't keep Uncle Charles waiting." They followed me in a daze, their earlier smugness replaced by bewildered silence. Every employee we passed, from the waitstaff to the security team, greeted me by name with genuine respect. "Good evening, Miss Vance," they murmured, their deference unmistakable and unforced. I led my stunned relatives to the private executive elevator, using my distinctive black keycard to summon it. "Unlike your watch, Liam," I noted casually as we waited, "which I believe is a rather convincing replica. The authentic Patek Philippe model has a different clasp mechanism entirely. I know because I met the master watchmaker in Geneva last spring when he delivered my anniversary piece." The elevator doors opened directly into the roaring party, and we stepped from silence into celebration. The entire room seemed to hush as we entered, conversations dying mid-sentence as dozens of eyes turned toward our unusual procession. "Alexandra!" My Uncle Charles stood up from his place of honor at the head table, his crystal glass frozen midway to his lips. "What is this? Your aunt specifically said you couldn't swing the charitable donation for tonight's event." "Happy birthday, Uncle Charles," I said, walking calmly to the center of the room, feeling the weight of everyone's attention. "I hope you don't mind me hosting your party in my tower. When I heard you'd chosen the Orion, I insisted on covering all expenses personally." "Your tower," Mr. Henderson from the prestigious investment firm stepped forward, his face breaking into an astonished but delighted smile. "Ms. Vance, we've been attempting to secure a meeting with you for weeks. Our office has called your assistants daily to think you're related to Charles." My uncle slowly sank back into his chair, the color draining from his carefully barbered face. "All this time, we thought your mother said you were just managing a hotel." "Your words, not mine," I confirmed quietly, letting the truth settle over the room like fine dust. "But why hide this?" my aunt demanded, her voice shaking with some mixture of humiliation and fury. "Why let us believe you were struggling? Why embarrass us like this?" I looked at them then, these people who had measured my worth by their own limited metrics and found me wanting at every turn. "Why share a sunrise with those who prefer the darkness?" I asked softly. "You saw only what you wanted to see, what confirmed your narrow view of my capabilities." I turned to address the stunned crowd, my voice projecting easily through the silent room. "Please, everyone, enjoy the evening. The music, the food, the champagne, everything is complimentary tonight in honor of my uncle's birthday." I started to walk toward the terrace, then paused as if remembering something important. "Oh, and Uncle Charles, that gift Liam was so determined not to let me give you earlier. It's the signed title to the Monaco estate. The one overlooking the sea that you admired in Architectural Digest last month. Consider it a birthday present from your failed niece." The aftermath was a fascinating study in shifting allegiances and recalculated social positions. The next hour passed in a surreal whirlwind. Van Horns suddenly remembered meeting me at a charity gala 2 years prior, their memories remarkably detailed for an encounter I couldn't recall. Mr. Henderson practically cornered me near the ice sculpture, pitching his firm's proposal between bites of caviar-topped plenty. Liam's fiancée discreetly pulled me aside to inquire about potential retail vacancies in my commercial properties, her earlier coolness replaced by breathless enthusiasm. Later, as the party began to wind down, I found my uncle standing alone on the expansive terrace, staring out at the glittering city skyline as if seeing it for the first time. "How many of those lights are yours?" he asked, his voice rough with some emotion I couldn't quite identify. "Enough," I said simply, coming to stand beside him at the railing. "Including the building that currently houses the family business, the one whose lease I've been quietly subsidizing for the past 3 years. He sighed heavily, the sound carrying the weight of 70 years of certainties now overturned. "I was a fool, Alexandra. We all were. We never saw, we never imagined." "Yes," I agreed softly, not unkindly. "You were. Respect isn't given, it's earned through actions, not ancestry. And now at least you have quite the story to share with your golf partners." I left him there with his thoughts and his view, taking the private elevator up to my personal office on the 60th floor. The city glittered below me like a kingdom of scattered diamonds, a world I had built brick by brick, deal by deal, without their permission, their support, or their praise. And that victory, silent and absolute, tasted infinitely sweeter than any of their belated approval ever could.